So we now have episode 10 of Fear the Walking Dead season 6. This episode is called Handled with Care. If you have not seen this episode yet and you don't want to get anything spoiled for you, do not watch this review because this review is going to contain full spoilers for this episode as well as the other 9 within this season. So I went into this episode with lower expectations than I have been going in with recent episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, purely because episode 8 and episode 9 were such big episodes. Episode 9 in particular, the episode that wrapped up the whole Virginia storyline, an episode I wasn't expecting to see until episode 16. So I went into episode 10 expecting more of a calmed down episode and more of what do we do now episode, what's going to happen now. But there was a time skip, and the majority of the episode we actually followed Daniel, which I was honestly quite surprised with. Daniel's a character that I like him. He's never been the same. I liked him a lot more in season 1, 2 and 3. I think that Daniel was better. This Daniel has never really felt like that Daniel to me. He's a lot calmer, but I'm saying that it's been 2 years, of course. A lot can happen to someone, especially in the apocalypse, in 2 years. But I thought the Daniel storyline and Daniel as a whole, even series 5 and series 6, he's just never felt the same to me. He's never felt as badass as he was back then. But we see him and Morgan are very much working together to grow Lawton. If we find out that they actually no guns are allowed on premises and there's only 2 people with keys, Morgan's one of them and Daniel's the other. So it shows that Daniel actually does have a bit of responsibility there. He's not just your ordinary person living in the town. He's actually got a good bit of responsibility within whatever they're going to end up calling this place. I really want them to name it already because I'm very curious what this place is going to be called, because they keep calling it the what do they call it? They call it the Canyon, I think, at one stage, but I can't imagine that's going to be a permanent name for it. But anyways, throughout the episode, we got all our groups come back together because we have our main group within this canyon. You got a Strand out in Lawton, and then you got oh, what's her name? Well, actually, I'm blanking on her name. Sherry. You got Sherry out with the masked group, and they're all coming together because they want to discuss what they should do with the group of the end is the beginning people. So they're going there to discuss what's happening. Morgan has to run off quickly with the rabbi. Did they ever name that guy? I don't think he actually his name. Even remember in episode 9, Morgan just goes, "Oh, rabbi." So I just thought it was, did they ever give him a name? I don't think they did. It'd be like someone just saying to Gabriel, "Hey, father," for like that's all. That's all we ever know. Because the best of my knowledge, we don't know a name for this guy. It's a bit odd that we don't know this guy's actual name. But anyways, him and the rabbi, they do go off looking for medical supplies for Grace for giving birth for the baby. And as this discussion is happening, everyone's discussing what they should do, what information they have, and an explosive goes off. They're wondering what the hell's happening here. No one has any guns. All these people were sitting here. Is there a mole within this community? Just debates. Everyone's debating what's happening here. What are we going to do? The explosion causes walkers to show up, and they panic, which I thought was a bit weird because it really wasn't a lot of walkers. It was probably 30, 40 at the absolute most. So I was a bit surprised the way they all started freaking out and panicking because they have taken out more than that. Well, this group, I from knowledge, I don't, like, of course they're in the apocalypse so long, it should be no problem taking out 30, 40 walkers. So I thought that was a bit of a weird thing that they were all scared and panicked over 30, 40 walkers. And because there was a breach, they decide that they need their guns just in case, of course, walkers made their way in, or in case walkers, they just want to pick them off maybe from the top of the wall. So Daniel and a few others go to the lockup to get the guns, and it's revealed that the guns are gone. Someone has taken the guns. We don't know who's taken the guns. And then a few moments later, there's a breach. Walkers get in there. It gets to a pretty close call because none of them have any weapons. Even all their knives and everything, they all got confiscated and they all got put in the lockup. And now that everything's gone, they have literally nothing to defend themselves with. Like, you see someone using they use a chair. You see Dwight actually using a saw. The way he used the saw was quite weird. He kind of held either side of it and pushed it through, rather than kind of just swinging it at it. That's what I would have done anyways, but I thought Dwight's kind of thing was pretty weird, and Dwight almost got bit, and then Strand takes out a gun, shoots the bullet, and then we all are led to believe that the guns had been stolen by Strand. Daniel locks Strand up in the jail cell, and it leaves us to wonder, did Strand take the gun? And you see a pretty good scene between Strand and Daniel where they're both, well, Daniel's aiming the gun at him throughout it, and he's saying how that you don't know the pain. You know that someone can get shot in the face and walk away from it, but you don't know the pain that happens afterwards. And you see Daniel describe that he's always in pain ever since you got, like, we saw Daniel get shot in the face in season 3. I thought Daniel died that moment, but of course I think everyone thought Daniel died that moment. But then it's revealed that he's just been shot in the face, and we know that everything, if he's just sitting there eating, if he's sitting there breathing, whatever, no matter what happens to him, he's in constant pain with a shot wound in the side of his face. But since everything was so hectic, he didn't want to put Grace or Charlie's life at risk, so he tells them to go off to some cabin in the woods. Not the horror movie, but they go off there so they're safe out wherever they were sent off to. And during all this, Morgan comes back. He uses the MRAT to shoot all of the walkers out front down, so now the walker issue has been solved. But then you think they came there because of the explosion was so loud it drew walkers in. You think that the MRAT shooting all those bullets would draw more walkers in, but anyways, that's that problem solved anyway. So all the walkers are gone. Morgan comes in, he asks what happened, and then he asks where's Grace. So they go out looking for Grace. Morgan goes out there, he goes to where Grace was, he calls Daniel back in the radio, says, Daniel, they're not here, where are they? Then it's revealed that Daniel actually told them to go to a different place, and Daniel didn't remember telling them to go to that place. He was like, no, I told them to go here. I don't know why they went there, but they showed a map and everything, and on the map was marked where Grace and Charlie had actually gone Daniel had told them to go somewhere completely different. It's also revealed that Daniel was the one who had taken the gun, so it was up to this point we were kind of led to believe it was Strand. I didn't think it was Strand. I didn't know who it was. Actually, I was kind of thinking more Sherry's group or someone in that lines, but I did not think it was Daniel, so I was quite surprised to see the person who had stolen the guns was Daniel. But Daniel doesn't remember stealing the guns. He has no memory whatsoever of stealing these guns, and because of this, he locks himself. I was under the impression that he locked himself up because he didn't know what was happening, but I was kind of under the impression that Daniel was getting dementia. I thought it was sad because I do like his character, but I thought it was a really good idea to have someone in the Walking Dead universe just getting this, because we've never seen anything like this, and I think it'd be really cool, really unique, and just really original for this franchise that we've seen over, what we on, like almost 18 seasons of all of the Walking Dead universe, and we're seeing something so completely different. Because we've seen in the Walking Dead now, we're seeing Ezekiel with cancer, and this is something we've never seen before, and I've kind of wanted them to kind of do stuff like that, seeing realistic illnesses that we can't do anything about in the zombie apocalypse, just to see what would happen to our characters. So now that I was kind of excited to see, well, yeah, excited is the best way of putting it. But I was looking forward to seeing Daniel going through something that doesn't, even what we have now, it's not curable now. So imagine having to deal with that in the apocalypse. It'd be really ridiculously hard. But no, June shows up, and it's not dementia. It's something where when Daniel was so relaxed, where he feels so safe, when he feels so happy, his brain kind of does stuff to make it not that way. Kind of his brain is kind of shutting himself down, so he doesn't remember what he's doing, and he's going off and doing stuff to make things harder for himself and the people around him. And because of that, Daniel thinks the best thing for him to do is leave. So Daniel was initially, he was actually going to make his way back to the warehouse where he was, where they actually found him again in season 5. But no, he is now going to Lawton. He's going to go live out in Lawton with Strand. I think Strand's doing it purely out of guilt because, of course, he shot him in the face, and now he knows that he's in constant pain. It wasn't just a shot in the face, it's healed, I'm over it. The fact that he's in constant pain, Strand obviously feels an enormous amount of guilt for that. So Strand takes him back to Lawton. We know that Dakota gave them a bit of information that the End of the World group is actually living underground. So you see Luciana, I'm still not a fan of her, really find her character annoying, and I don't know the guy's name. West, I think his name was, but the guy who looks a bit like Heat from The Walking Dead. They are going to go out and catch up with Alicia and Al, who have gone out looking for this group, or just supplies. They're gone out looking for something, but now they're going to go out there and find it. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in episode 11. I didn't see a trailer, but I've seen a couple of stills, and it looks quite interesting. It looks like we're going to be introduced to this new big bad group, so I'm looking forward to that. It's mad that there's only 6 episodes left in this series so far. This episode as a whole, it was it was quite slow. I found myself actually checking the runtime a fair bit throughout this episode because not a lot really happened. It was more just a character episode with Daniel. And as I said, I don't mind Daniel. I liked him in earlier seasons. At the moment, he's not really one of my favorite characters, but it was cool to see a character like that getting a standout episode. I would say this is probably the weakest of season 6, and by saying it's the weakest, that's not saying this is a crap episode, because I've pretty much loved all of these episodes. I've had my complaints, like I didn't like the one in Tanktown because it really focused on Luciana. Again, I'm not a fan of Luciana, but everything else really enjoyed. So even this episode, it had its moments, but overall I do think it's the weakest of the season. I think it's better than probably majority of the episodes in season 5, but it is the weakest of the season. That's not saying I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy the episode. I'm really excited for episode 11. I think if episode 11's quality is just a bit above this, if episode 11's quality and the remaining episodes were just kind of on the level of episode 5, and then just top of my head, let's say episode 4, whatever that was, I think season 6 will easily be the best series as of right now. I think if episode 9 last week was the actual series finale and that was it, I would say season 6 is the best series they've ever done. Hopefully they finish up with a great, fantastic series. I've got complete faith with them at the moment. If you said to me at the end of series 5 season 6 is going to be the best one you've watched so far, you're going to have complete faith in whatever they do, I wouldn't have believed you, because I was very annoyed at the end of season 5. But honestly, season 6 is just, it's absolutely amazing so far. I'll be picking this one up day 1 on Blu-ray if they stick the landing. Hopefully they stick the landing, because I waited a pretty long time to buy season 5 on Blu-ray. So I'm really excited to see how the show wraps up. If you want to hear my thoughts on the future episodes of season 6 of Fear the Walking Dead, click that subscribe button so you can come back and watch the remaining episodes in this review series. And as always, thanks for watching.